Dmitry Bivol, Artur, Beterbiev.
The long-awaited showdown between the two titans, Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, is finally on the horizon after being postponed. The clash of the monsters could determine the next opponent for David Benavides, who recently triumphed over Alexander Gvozdik. But without further ado, let's dive right into it. And while you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe. Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev are gearing up for their rescheduled light heavyweight undisputed championship fight on October 12th at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The fight was initially scheduled for June but was postponed due to an injury. Artur Beterbiev, the IBF WBC WBO 175-pound champion, has a perfect record of 20 wins, all by knockout. He recently recovered from a ruptured meniscus injury and was spotted biking in the Siberian mountains in Russia, pedaling up steep hills. Fans hope his knee doesn't become a problem again. This fight has been highly anticipated for the past 5 years. Beterbiev has expressed frustration that Bivol didn't agree to face him earlier. Thanks to the help of His Excellency, Turki Al-Sheikh, the fight is finally happening. Dmitry Bivol, who is 33 years old with a record of 23 wins and 12 knockouts, is the favorite going into the fight. His youth, speed, and combination punching give him an edge. However, Beterbiev has a track record of beating faster fighters, making this matchup very exciting for boxing fans. Artur Beterbiev is known for his quick counterpunching and ability to hurt faster fighters. On the other hand, Dmitry Bivol has shown some vulnerability in his recent fights. In June, Bivol knocked down Malik Zanad in the first round. Before that, in December, he won a 12-round unanimous decision against Lyndon Arthur in Riyadh. During that fight, Bivol was staggered in the 8th round and had to play it safe for the rest of the match. Bivol has near-perfect technique and incredible ability to maintain range. Rarely gets hit cleanly, which makes him a tough nut to crack. Meanwhile, Beterbiev is a powerhouse, capable of hurting opponents with even glancing blows that travel ridiculously short distances. For Bivol to win, he needs to be flawless, and while he's definitely capable of that, it's going to be a tall order. My heart says Beterbiev could take it, but my head leans towards Bivol winning by decision, though he'll likely get wobbled at least once in the process. If Bivol does get wobbled and isn't saved by the bell, Beterbiev could finish him off because he's arguably the best finisher in the sport. Both fighters are stepping up to a level they haven't faced before, and anything could happen. Bivol could outbox Beterbiev easily, but there's always the risk of getting knocked out. It's like watching a master technician trying to defuse a bomb. Edge of your seat stuff. Personally, I think Bivol will outbox Beterbiev, but will face moments of serious danger throughout the fight. However, if Bivol gets cornered, it'll be interesting to see how he handles Beterbiev's relentless pressure and power. While he's technically sound and an excellent outboxer, this isn't your standard boxer versus brawler matchup. Beterbiev has faced fighters who try to outbox him throughout his career, dating back to his amateur days. He's more familiar with Bivol's style than Bivol is with his. Beterbiev's relentless pressure and unique ability to hurt opponents with short, powerful shots mean that Bivol will have to be near perfect to avoid getting caught. Despite Bivol's impressive skills, the fact that Beterbiev has a 100% KO ratio speaks volumes. This isn't just about power versus technique, it's about who can impose their will and adapt. Beterbiev, in my opinion, has the edge, and will likely find a way to win. There are some who argue that Beterbiev is past his prime, but honestly, I think the arguments are off the mark. First, when people say he's out of his prime, they're missing a key point. Sure, Beterbiev might not be at his absolute peak, but he's not far removed from it either. In higher weight classes, age isn't as big of a factor because power and strength play a more significant role than speed or agility, which are crucial in lighter divisions. Beterbiev, with just over 20 fights and no grueling 12-round wars, doesn't have the mileage that typically wears down other champions. The winner of the Bivol-Beterbiev fight will likely face WBC interim champion David Benavides. This decision will be influenced by His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. That being said, let's take a look at Bivol and Beterbiev's previous fights. Dmitry Bivol maintained his undefeated record with a sharp 6th-round TKO against Malik Zanad at the Queensberry vs Matchroom 5v5 event in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Initially set to fight Artur Beterbiev for the undisputed light heavyweight title, Bivol faced Zanad after Beterbiev withdrew due to a knee injury. From the start, Bivol dominated, scoring a knockdown in the first round. By the 6th round, Bivol unleashed a barrage of punches, forcing Zanad into a corner and prompting the referee to stop the fight. This win reaffirmed Bivol's status as one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in boxing.
WBA and IBO light heavyweight champion of the world,
Dmitry Bivol versus Lyndon Artur. Dmitry Bivol dominated Lyndon Artur, securing a unanimous decision victory at Day of Reckoning in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. From the outset, Bivol applied heavy pressure, forcing Artur on the defensive with stiff jabs and left hooks. Artur struggled to respond effectively, with most of his shots deflecting off Bivol's guard. Bivol's relentless offense, particularly his effective liver shots, kept Artur on the back foot throughout the fight. By the 8th round, Bivol intensified his attack, landing a liver hook that put Artur on the floor in the 11th round. Despite a late rally from Artur and calls for a knockout from commentators, Bivol's dominance was clear, and Artur barely survived to the final bell. Bivol's performance reaffirmed his position as the WBA light heavyweight champion.
Dmitry Bivol!
Dmitry Bivol versus Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. Dmitry Bivol secured a dominant decision win over Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez on Saturday in Abu Dhabi, retaining his WBA light heavyweight championship. Ramirez, known for his aggressive style, struggled to find his rhythm against Bivol, who utilized a high defensive guard and a crisp jab to control the fight. Bivol's precise right hands consistently landed cleanly, while Ramirez hesitated to engage, even when Bivol was against the ropes. Despite a late attempt to increase pressure, Ramirez couldn't match Bivol's efficiency and slick movement, ultimately losing with scorecards reading 118 to 110, 117 to 111, and 117 to 111.
One of the pound-for-pound best in the world.
Artur Beterbiev versus Callum Smith. Artur Beterbiev continued his perfect record with a 7th-round knockout of Callum Smith, retaining his WBC, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight titles in Quebec City. Beterbiev, now 20-0 with 20 KOs, dominated the fight, scoring 2 knockdowns in the final round before Smith's trainer, Buddy McGirt, stopped the fight. Official scores at the stoppage were 58-56, 58-56, and 59-55, though many felt these were generous to Smith, who dropped to 29-2. Smith, despite his best efforts, never fully got into the fight against the aggressive Beterbiev. The potential matchup between Beterbiev and WBA titleist Dmitry Bivol remains highly anticipated, but obstacles related to their Russian nationality and WBC rules need resolution. On the undercard, super middleweight contender Christian Mabili improved to 26-0 with a stoppage victory over Rohan Murdoch after 6 rounds of dominant action.
Paint on any of the labels you want for Artur Beterbiev.
Artur Beterbiev versus Anthony Yarde. Artur Beterbiev retained his WBC, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight titles by stopping Anthony Yarde in the 8th round in London. Yarde, who fought valiantly and showed significant improvement, was down in the 8th round before his corner stopped the fight at 2 minutes 8 seconds, following a relentless follow-up from Beterbiev. The bout was a thrilling contest, with Yarde using his movement and speed to challenge Beterbiev. But ultimately, Beterbiev's power and experience prevailed. This victory keeps the potential for an undisputed championship fight with Dmitry Bivol alive. Despite the loss, Yarde's performance solidified his status as a serious contender in the light heavyweight division, while Beterbiev continues to dominate at age 38.
And Tunde Ajayi steps in, and Artur Beterbiev.
Artur Beterbiev versus Joe Smith Jr. Artur Beterbiev continued his knockout streak, improving to 18-0 with 18 knockouts by stopping Joe Smith Jr. in the 2nd round to unify the IBF, WBC, and WBO light heavyweight titles. Beterbiev stopped Smith 3 times, ending the fight at 2 minutes 19 seconds of the 2nd round. Despite Smith's aggressive start, Beterbiev quickly took control, landing powerful shots that overwhelmed Smith and led to the TKO victory. Looking ahead, Beterbiev expressed a strong interest in a unification bout with WBA titleist Dmitry Bivol to become the undisputed light heavyweight champion. Although WBO mandatory challenger Anthony Yarde was present, Beterbiev prioritized the historical significance of fighting Bivol. Unification fights are more interesting and motivating, Beterbiev said, emphasizing his desire to make history. And we are about to witness that. Will Beterbiev extend his 100% KO success, or will Bivol come up triumphant? Let us know in the comments below.